The house in focus for today is the house of Jacquart, and the wine is Brut Mosaique. Jacquart are a relative newcomer to the Champagne's long and illustrious scene. They've been around for about 50 years, and the story actually starts with a group of growers. A group of growers in the 1960s who decided to come together, to band together, to not sell their fruit into the Grand Maisons, the Grand Marques anymore, and decided that they would release their own Champagne brand. It is the largest of the cooperatives in Champagne. They have over 1,600 growers amongst them, who collectively own over 2,600 hectares of land within the Champagne region. This is more than enough than the house requires to satisfy its production. So the chef de caves, the chief winemaker, Floriane Esnac, has more than she requires for the production of her cuvées, allowing her to choose only the best grapes from the best producers. So of course, the winemaker at the house is in fact a woman. She is few and far between in Champagne circles. It's interesting because women have a very long history within Champagne, and that has something to do with the fact that Champagne really was the battleground that protected Paris. Champagne was completely flattened 7 times by war, and over that period of history, over 1 million men were lost in those battles, leaving behind a lot of women who had to take over the reins of running the maisons and also tinkering in the vineyards. But even though there was a very long procession of women who have made significant improvements, changes, and left strong memories within the Champagne region, there are only a handful of female winemakers still at the helm of the winemaking teams in Champagne today. In my opinion, Floriane Esnac is one of the best winemakers in the Champagne region. She makes wines which are beautifully balanced. They're elegant, incredible finesse, but also have a depth and a complexity to them. This particular Champagne is incredibly satisfying. The idea of a non-vintage Champagne, of course, is to be the calling card of the house, to be reflective of their house style. And I think that this is certainly reflective of the house of Jacquart. Elegant, a lot of finesse, and beautifully balanced. The colour of the Champagne is a beautiful straw golden yellow, and just a very fine, gentle mousse rising up through the centre of the glass and pooling on the top of the wine. The aromatics on this Champagne are a beautiful lemon butter, something creamy and citrusy. Pink lady apple, really crisp, clean white fruit aromatics, but the freshness of the citrus aromas and of the white fruits is beautifully balanced out by some freshly baked bread. There are lovely warm hints of brioche as an undercurrent of this particular Champagne. It's very effervescent on the palate, very sprightly on the tongue, indicating that it's perhaps quite a young Champagne. I believe that it spent about 36 months on lees. It's got a beautiful balance of acidity. It's quite taut, it's quite direct. That Chardonnay still hasn't had time to soften up, to develop, to mature into something that's more elegant. The composition of the grapes. We have 50% of the Chardonnay, 35% of the Pinot Noir, and the balance being Pinot Meunier. Comes from about 60 different villages that are blended together within this particular wine. About 36 months aging on lees, and we have about 10 grams of dosage, so 10 grams of sugar per litre, slightly higher than the average non-vintage these days, but certainly not a large amount of sugar by any stretch. The finale, after taking a sip of the Champagne, directional, clean, taut. Some beautiful minerality coming through with the beautiful weight, balance and length on the palate. It's a very satisfying Champagne. It's all that you would want from a non-vintage Champagne. I hope that you enjoy it. It's an excellent entry-level wine, and I do hope that you take the time to explore the entire Jacquart range. Floriane makes a simply sensational rosé Champagne, and their prestige cuvée is one worth seeking out.